Okay guys, I've got another model from MInimumRC to put together, and this one is the PZL-106 crop duster to me and you, and I've got the usual little packets of goodies, servos, motor, etc. Plywood pack and hardware, and glues and knife, everything you need. So I put on the rudder and elevator servo. Okay, this one here, the aileron servo, plugs in underneath, so let's just put the arm on it. I've centered the servo, so I'm good to go there. Okay, aileron servo, that fits underneath, coming up. Like that. So something to be aware of is that have a really good look on the instructions, because the back servos are mounted under the plate. Well, they're all mounted under the plate actually, but it'd be very simple to mount that on top of the plate and not realise, but then it won't line up with the hole slots in the side of the fuselage. So make sure they're mounted under the plate like that. One thing I haven't done yet is to fix the motor in. That goes on the top like that. Fits on there. The 502 glue is your super glue. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to glue that in, making sure, as I say. Now, in the picture, some of the pictures show the motor completely flush with the front former, and some of the photos show the motor hanging out as I've got it here. One thing they do tell you to do is to fit the propeller onto the motor to make sure it's spinning the right way. After the test, fit the receiver with Velcro and tie the cable. So I'm going to get some Velcro and a cable tie, and I'm going to fiddle with this and get it looking nice. I'll come back to you in a moment. Okay, quite pleased. Got that in there like that. So it looks pretty much like the picture. One thing I have noticed though is the connections on the battery. I don't like the way they're, every time you move the wires, they're straining the solder connection. So I'm going to glue the wires to the framework so as there's no strain taken on the connections. Okay, so the next step is to glue on the chassis, shall we call it. That goes in there like that. There's a little guideline on the fuselage side just there, which denotes the bottom of the chassis against the fuselage, and that's glued in with the UFO glue. I'll just slot in there, lining up that little line at the front there, making sure the control horns are not touching the sides. Long thin bit. I realised I stuck this on the top and not the inside, so I've just taken it off and stuck it on the inside. The battery hatch has got a small cut going through the foam. That is part of the hinge mechanism. When you glue this in, it's going to be flush with that little indent at the front, because you only glue the very front. It does show you on the instructions not to glue it, but a good thing to line up is the hole with the magnet. For when you put the opposite magnet in, that's got to line up with that, so it's a good thing to line it up with. I'm going to put this bit in first because it'll set the exact distance for the piece at the back. A little bit like that. and line it on there like that. Put a little bit of tape on there to hold it in position. And there like that. And also, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go right across the top here. And that'll hold it square then. So that's pretty much, that can butt up onto that. I did notice that when I put the servos in, one was a little bit proud on that side, so there's going to be a little gap there. I think that was because just looking through, there's an angle there. I can see daylight on the servo edge. The servo could have sat further flush into the plywood holder, but of course the hole is pre-drilled for the screw, so it had to go where it had to go. I did test the equipment one last time before I put when I was letting the glue dry, so I absolutely know it's good. I'm just going to bend that aerial up like that so it's clear of the electronics. Put some glue on the side of that servo, won't hurt. Things I'm checking here is just making sure the control horns are centered on the slots as well. So I think I'm going to close this side up a bit because it's close to the hatch. It will need to be glued well. That side got a slight gap there, but it's not the end of the world. Just going to glue in the bottom magnet. I've ascertained the correct way round. That's going to go in there like that, flush with the inside because it's got to touch the face of the other magnet, and then on the outside of that goes a piece of sticker material just to hold it in place. That's white, probably that piece there, because it's got a little thick piece in the middle to wrap around the outside. It goes on there, goes around the corner like that. That keeps that magnet in position. It just reinforces the hinge line. So I've just CA'd very carefully the battery wires to the floor so as it doesn't put any strain on the connections to the receiver. So I lost my camera then, so I've stuck on the other side of the cowl in using the masking tape method, which works really well. The cowl should fit over the front of the aeroplane. But it seems to me to be not wide enough. So I'm going to have to modify this because that's designed to sit right up and on top of things, and it's not going to. I'll have to shave this down a little bit on the outside. What I'm doing, I'm just shaving some foam out the inside of this to get it to go on. Taking a bit of paper off the outside of the fuselage as well. So when I'm happy with this fit, I'll put the sticker on. We'll start with the cowling sticker, and I'm going to start by removing the centre because that's the bit that has to line up with the motor, and everything else can follow suit. So that's going to stick on there like that. And that'll go up there like that. That'll come down like that. Panel lines here follow the grooves in the foam. I sanded around here, by the way, just to try and bring them to the same height. The thing I noticed with the top sticker is there's a slot here for the fin, so that might be one location area. I'm just going to slice this off now and level for the little bits that didn't quite make it up, and slice off any glue that seeped out. If you stand in from the edge, you won't destroy the printed edge of the foam. There's a little slot in the back here. That will be where the fin locating pin goes, I'm guessing, if there is such a thing. Ugh. Tear there, guys, but I've got away with it. Well, that's in 2 bits. Okay, that's fine. So I'm going to start by locating that. I'm not going to press it down hard until I'm happy that it goes all the way down here, which it does. Okay. You can sort of stick this side bit down a little bit just by turning it over with your thumbnail or something. Okay, that's a nice fit. Do the black piece, and then stick the cowl in on. There we have it. A little fuselage. Just take off these bits here, and then I stick the cowl in on. Just a friction fit. I've not found any come off yet, so don't worry about it. Always put a little blob of CA on if you're worried, I guess. Okay, there it is then. I've pulled out the wings and tail surfaces, and you've got to run a piece of carbon rod down the fold line of the wing. There's a very slight indentation, and the same with the aileron, all the way down. Little tip, when you get to the end, come off with the pressure, otherwise you'll go right through. And I've gone sideways like this on the aileron and that way, just to make the hole a little bit wider to give me a full 5mm deflection. And then the wing just bends in the middle for the dihedral. I've offered them up, and I've just marked where the dihedral brace fits and just punctured the skin with the tip of the knife blade. And before I fit the control surfaces, I'm going to fit the control horns. It's just easier to do that now than when it's on the model. Now the aileron control horns go on the bottom because the servo's underneath the wing. So there's a little slot there. What I'm going to do is possibly just open it up ever so slightly, just to the width of that plywood. Do not use CA on this, you'll melt the foam away. How we'll laugh. That's a good fit. And likewise in this one. Press it down, make sure it's upright. We'll let that set off a little bit before I glue the flying surfaces on. Now I glued these undercarriage legs on once already, but they came off with the ordinary glue, so I'm going to epoxy them on. And I've spiked the inside of that, and I've spiked the wing area where they go, just to give them a bit of bite, bit of a chance to actually glue on. Give it a little wiggle. Could put a peg on there if I wanted to, but really I'm just looking to make sure the wheels facing forward. Right guys, I'm on the final leg now. I've just fitted up the little aileron connections like that, and heat shrunk it about 5mm each way. I've also used a bit of the sticky tape to put a little tab on it, the battery box, to make it really easy to open. I've opened up the hole a little bit. I'm going to put it on the inside hole. I've used a pin to just open it up a little bit and supporting the horn so you don't put any strain on it. Hook it up like that. Now I haven't heat shrunk the, that's pretty good actually. I've had to cut about ½ inch off of this one, maybe less. I haven't heat shrunk the tape yet, so I can make small adjustments. It goes in there, and then I just use a pair of tweezers to hook the little springy bit over the top. That holds itself in, especially if you put it the other side of the pin. That should be the rudder. So it's probably too much throw. Again, I'm going to put it on the inside hole. Winkle it in, turn it, and where are we? We want to be a little bit longer. We have elevator. So I'll heat shrink those now. What's that on there? What I have done sometimes is to not heat shrink it at all, but just leave it as it is and then run some CA in there. And that's it. The model's done. Finished. So there we go. MInimumRC PZL-105. There it is right in front of my face. 106. Okay, PZL-106. And I'll see you up the flying field for the maiden. Hit the little like button if you've gained something from the video. and if you want to hit the subscribe button, and if you want to see the maiden flight of this one, then hit the notification bell as well, and you'll see this one along with all my other videos. Cheers guys, bye. Bye. Bye.